Hello everyone, how are you?
Hey, good.
My name is Márcio, I'm from Brazil. Oh, let's talk in Portuguese. So, I'm gonna talk today about some challenges we have in Latin America and Brazil, but I think that these challenges is the same for the rest of the world. I will talk about the exchange of legacy hypervisors from a modern hypervisor. Okay, this is the idea, the principal idea. Um, what we have in Brazil and in other countries, and maybe here in US too, and in other countries too, we have a lot of regulations that in some cases uh, turns very difficult to move our data to data centers. We need to to bring back our data to our own data centers. In Brazil, we have LGPD is a regulation, a national regulation about this data. And another question is, and I think this is same for you too. The costs for using data center is high and high and high. Every time is more high. And that the challenge is how can we use better our infrastructure without using public clouds or but having the same model of business, the same way to use, but using inside of our data center. And of course, more important here, how to reduce our investments, money investments for capex to opex, or reduce the capex. Um, and in Brazil, here. We are working with Rakuten. We are working with Rakuten to exchange some traditional hypervisors to this solution. In how this help us to improve our services in Brazil. Traditional hypervisors are based in an old technology, 20 years technology, and modern hypervisors are based on Kubernetes. You know Kubernetes here? Yeah, Kubernetes uses less resources, is more intelligent, uses less resources than traditional hypervisors. So using Rakuten, we can, especially using KubeVirt, we can have an environment that we can bring our data back to public data centers to our data center, okay, and use less hardware, less resources, less people to take care of our data. This technology is amazing because in the same cluster, we can put traditional virtual machines and convert Kubernetes, convert microservices and other services to a unique environment. A single cluster can provide for us. How can I explain this in English? A single cluster can provide for us Kubernetes, so containers and virtual machines. This is I studied a case that we can reduce our TCO, our costs, because using using Rakuten, we can reduce our licensing. Based on VMware and other technologies, the license is based on cores today. Our service has more cores, and more cores. And here we have a license, a model more simple of license that we can reduce this license. We can use less hardware. Our operation is more easier. And we can have an easier operation, less people to take care of the whole environment, okay? So, how can we change if we have in our companies and your companies a traditional hypervisor? How can we change this traditional hypervisor to a Rakuten Cloud? It's very, very easy because Rakuten provides for us a framework to help us to do this. This framework is very easy. We have 4 phases here: phase discovery, planning, migration, integration. In this first phase, we have a kind of software that will discover our environment. If you use VMware, for example, this phase is able to discover what we have, VMware's configurations, etc. Help us to planning and migrate some virtual machines for tests for example, to validate if our workload is working well or not. And then we can go to the migration. And not in months. Let's suppose that we have 100 VMs, 100 virtual machines. We can do this in weeks, maybe in months. Our phase of tests, planning and migration, and finally integration. We used this in Brazil to migrate an environment with about 800 virtual machines. Was very easy using this cloud native modernization, this framework to migrate. It helped us to migrate in a very easy way. What more? And here is the more technician part. As I said before, with this technology, we can have just one cluster. And the magic here is that when we create a Rakuten cluster, he's based in a Kubernetes, native Kubernetes. When we are using Hyper-V, VMware, or any other virtualization, we are using old virtualization. And if we would like to use Kubernetes or containers, for example, we need to install another software up to the virtual machines to hypervisor to provide Kubernetes. Here is the opposite. This is a modern way to do this because we have microservices, web apps, AI, based on a container. And if we need, we can have two virtual machines, legacy VMs and workloads, and another environment, but it's the same cluster. The same cluster. Where is my here? One more. Based on this, we can have our data in three phases. Start now. We can audit, identify. As I said, we can audit our data, identify, run, calculate. How can we reduce our TCO comparing with real numbers? Then scale, migrate. If you have a cluster running and another cluster by the side, we can migrate, deploy, train, and measure. I don't know if you tried to change one technology for other. If you use a hypervisor, it changes for another hypervisor. It's always very complex because we are talking about different formats, different ways to provide services. And this framework helps us to do this in a very, very easy way using this model of work. And here we have a case in Brazil. This is an edge data center in Brazil. This company has now almost 5 data centers in Brazil, edge data centers. This company was using a legacy hypervisor during the last 5 years, I think. They starting now to change to Rakuten Cloud. And using Rakuten Cloud, we are helping this company to reduce licensing because we have the service with the maximum of number of cores as possible. And based on legacy technology, we need to pay based on cores. And using Rakuten, we can pay based on servers. Is more simple way. The second thing is because the system is based on Kubernetes, they use less resources. So the service that we have now provide more resources. We can bring more virtual machines or more containers for this infrastructure. And finally, it's easier to find people who understand about Kubernetes than people who understand about the hypervisor. For example, if I need a professional, a VMware professional, for example, this professional is very difficult to find, in Brazil especially. But we can find a guy, a professional who works with Kubernetes in a very easy way, okay? So this is a case in Brazil. It's a data center. Data centers run 24/7, so it's a very critical environment. Inside this data center, we have customers in agribusiness, manufacturing, corporate cloud services, private 5G. A lot of different customers with a lot of different needs. Okay, and this is a case that we are very happy to work with in Brazil. What more? So the key point is with this technology, with Rakuten Cloud, we can do more with less people, less resources, less money. Okay, it's very very easy to use in a day by day, but most important, it's very very easy to change your solution today to this solution. Normally, this is the more complex part. That is, how can I exchange my environment, my entire environment, to another environment, a different environment, and this is very very easy using Rakuten. The solution is amazing because of this, and I can say this for you because we in Brazil are a business case of this solution. We are using in real cases in Brazil. I think is this questions. No questions? Yes.
It's a complete open source solution or not?
No, it's a paid solution, but
The back end of the solution, so what you have behind of your solution is created with some open source or
it's based in part of an open source solutions. Yes, but important. This solution, Rakuten, the part of the storage. I don't know if your question is exactly that, but this is very important. The storage solution is the solution that Google uses in his cloud. Okay, so when we talk about Google Cloud is based on Rakuten storage. So this can show for us how big this company is and how mature this solution is. Okay, yes, I think that we have a little open source behind, but not at all. More questions? Yes, please.
We only cater x86, correct? We don't have non-x86 architecture.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
We don't have a non-x86 architecture compatibility, correct?
Correct. Yes, correct. Sorry. More questions? No?
All right. Thank you all for joining our session. And now it's a wrap.